Good afternoon and welcome to this joint webinar between the Royal Institute of Architects of Ireland and the National Building Control Office. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mairead Phelan and I'm head of the National Building Control Office. The National Building Control Office is managed by Dublin City Council on behalf of the 31 building control authorities, with the objective to promote a culture of compliance with the building regulations. We do this through a programme of education and training, inspections, providing compliance and support to building control authorities, builders, owners and designers in relation to works or a building. Our building control administration system, that's the BCMS, has over 120,000 registered users. And as building control authorities are market surveillance authorities under the EU Construction Products Regulations, and Brexit being back on the table, the office is preparing to undertake a national market surveillance role for construction products. Our office is located beside City Hall at number 3 Palace Street. Dublin City Council Chief Executive Officer Owen Keegan requested the office of the 21st century. So we operate as a paperless, dynamic work environment with all office systems designed to be highly mobile. The office can operate from anywhere, and since COVID-19 lockdown, it has been business as usual for us. Our contact email is there, support@nbco.gov.ie. Today, I'm happy to introduce you to our team member, Sabrina MacDonald. Our other team members who are on hand to assist Sabrina today include Shirley Lamb, who with Teresa Hart in the Royal Institute of Architects of Ireland are responsible for organising this webinar. Éanna O'Conneilla and Richard Butler and Kelda Minion, who with Sabrina delivered the IT solution to enable the online application process for the Fire Safety Certificate, Disability Access Certificate, along with the dispensation and relaxation application process. So all of us are on hand today to assist in this webinar. We now have the full suite of building control notices, applications and certificates enabled online on the BCMS. We'll have a questions and answering session following Sabrina's demonstration, time permitting. So I use the question and answer feature throughout the webinar to add your questions. If we don't have time at the end, we will collate all the questions that are in the question and answer session and collate the answers and email them to all the attendees. We launched 3 polls throughout the webinar, so 2 polls before we hand over to Sabrina and 1 after Sabrina's demonstration, and each poll will be for 30 seconds. So we'd appreciate if you would take part in those polls. Sabrina will demonstrate now a live submission of a fire safety certificate to the BCMS for a building. The existing use is a 3-storey building with over-the-shop accommodation and storage. The proposed use is the conversion of an ancillary shop on the ground floor to an independent shop unit, with the addition of small extension for storage at the rear, with 2 dwellings overhead, 1 on each floor. So what we have here now for this fire safety certificate is an extension, a material change of use and a material alteration because the chimney will be removed in the centre. So just for note for everybody that the Department of Housing Planning and Local Government's Bringing Back Homes manual provides a very useful guidance on this type of building, and you'll get it on their website. We will include a link with our question and answers. So just before we go to Sabrina, we'd like you to take part in the first poll. And Shirley, if you have the questions there, put up the first poll. The questions are, what organisation are you from? A local authority, consultants, contractors or other? 30 seconds to answer that. So it looks as if we have over 80% consultants, another 16%. Have you next poll there, Shirley? 6% local authorities, 79 consultants, and other is 15%. I think we've 1 more poll before we go to Sabrina now. So are you a current user of the BCMS? So it's yes or no. So with the results,
yeah, the results are shown there. So it's, yeah.
What is it, Shirley? 80%?
75% current users on the BCMS, 25% not.
So I'm going to switch my microphone off and my camera, and I'm going to hand you over to Sabrina, who will demonstrate the.
Okay, thanks, Mairead. Okay, I'm just going to get ready to submit our fire safety certificate. So just by way of introduction and background, today I'm going to introduce you to the BCMS, which facilitates the online fire safety certificate application process. According to the poll, the majority of the attendees are already users of the BCMS. The Building Control Amendment Regulations SA9 of 2014 amended Article 5.4 of the regulations to provide for the BCMS. So the amendment identified the Building Control and Management System as the information technology-based system developed to facilitate the electronic administration of building control matters by building control authorities as the preferred means of building control administration. Article 12 of the Building Control Regulations sets out the requirements in respect of works or a building which require a fire safety certificate. Where a fire safety certificate is required in respect of works or a building, a person shall not carry out such works or make material change of use to a building in the absence of a fire safety certificate. Also, a new building or an existing building where an extension or a material alteration has been made shall not be opened, operated or occupied or permitted to be opened, operated or occupied unless a fire safety certificate has been granted by the Building Control Authority. So as Mairead demonstrated on her slide, today I'm going to submit an application for a fire safety certificate to a 3-story terraced masonry building. To access the BCMS, you just go to a web browser such as Google Chrome, Internet Explorer or Firefox and browse to localgov.ie. And you click on the green BCMS button. So the majority here are very familiar with this. So from here, you can log into your account or you can sign up to create an account. To access and use the BCMS for commencement notices, fire safety certificates, disability access certificates, relaxations, dispensations, and certificates of compliance and completion, you must have a customer account. If you don't have a customer account, we have a YouTube channel with some videos, some helpful, useful videos here. And one video here is how to create a customer account if you are having difficulties in how to create your account. This YouTube channel is very useful to subscribe to because we'll be adding to these videos in the coming weeks to expand into the applications process. The process of signing up is similar to other registration processes on any website. You enter your email address, you'll be sent a link to follow to complete the registration process, and you'll enter your first name, your last name, your phone number, and your address. So everybody must be registered on the system before being nominated for a role. For a fire safety certificate, there are 4 mandatory roles: the applicant, the owner, the person or firm to whom notification should be forwarded, and the person or firms responsible for preparation of accompanying plans, calculations, and specifications. The application submission process is not as complicated as a commencement notice process. It's relatively simple. There's no requirement to fill in an online assessment. And as a point of note, if you're an existing customer on the BCMS, which the majority of you are, you don't need to create a new account in order to submit applications. So I'm an existing user, so I'm going to log in with my existing account to demonstrate the process. So for those of you already familiar with the BCMS, as well as my dashboard, my details, my notices, my certificates of take tour, there's a new tab now, my applications. So this is where you apply for the applications. So I'm going to click on new application. And you'll see the 7 application types: new fire safety certificate, new revised fire safety certificate, new regularization certificate, new disability access certificate, new revised disability access certificate, new dispensation, and new relaxation. So for today's example, we are going to submit a new fire safety certificate. So for note throughout the process, anything marked with the red asterisk is a mandatory field, and anything which has a green circle with an I in the middle is an information widget for that field. So for today's example, I'm going to select local authority as my local authority, but this would be the local authority which you are submitting to. And the project name is an important piece of information, and it must clearly identify the works or building to which the application relates. This information will appear on the Statutory Building Control Register, as well as in email communication. You should not use your name or your client's name, as it will appear online on the Statutory Register. So for today's example, project name is Works to a 3-storey terraced masonry building at 10A Palace Street, Dublin 2. The next field is, has planning permission been applied for or granted for works or building? If you select yes, you'll be asked for a date permission was granted, if applicable, and the planning permission reference number, which is a mandatory field. There's a 7-day notice tick box. If this application is accompanied by a 7-day notice, you tick that box and you'll be asked for the 7-day notice submission number, if applicable. Next is classification of works or building. If you select construction of a new building, you can't select any other classification type. However, in this instance, we have a material alteration, an extension to a building, and a material change of use. They are multi-select. Again, the development description is a very important field. It must clearly describe the development of works to ensure the Building Control Authority will have enough information to enable validation assessment without ambiguity. So here, the information widget, if you hover over the information widget, gives an example of what should go in here. So for the purposes of today, my development description will be construction of a single-storey extension to rear of newsagent shop for storage at ground floor level, change of use of existing shop storage area at first floor level to a single dwelling unit and access at ground floor, and material alteration consisting of removal of existing chimney and intern walls at second floor level for single dwelling unit. Next is the location of the proposed development. If you've entered a classification type of construction of a new building, the air code will be grayed out. You can't enter an air code because there will not be an air code for new building. So you enter the street, the town, the county, and click on search by address. Latitude and longitude will be populated and the pin will drop on the relevant location on the map. In this instance, we're going to use the air code because it is an existing building. So I enter the air code and click search by air code. I can see the pin here has selected the right location on the map. You can drag and drop the pin as required. And correct the address to be 3 Palace Street. And the county is the local authority in which you're submitting to. So in this case, it's Dublin City. Latitude and longitude have been populated. So I'm going to click save and continue. So you can see now the project particulars tab has a green tick, which means all relevant information has been provided, so we can proceed onto the application details tab. So I'll click on application details and click on edit. So use of proposed works or building. Refer to Part B, TGD Table 01 for guidance here, if required. So I'm going to select residential dwellings and shop. And for each use of proposed works or building, I need to enter a relevant subgroup. So I'm going to select dwelling, apartment, flat, and shop, other. Just for a note, a flat is a separate and self-contained premises constructed or adapted for residential use and forming part of a building from some other part of which it is divided horizontally. That definition comes from TGDB, Fire Safety Volume 2 for dwelling houses. Next field is the existing use of building, in this case, shop. The next field is the main construction type. So the construction material type of the main structure in this instance is masonry. This is a multi-select field. And next we're asked to enter the site area information, which must be in square meters. In this instance, it's 2,500. The number of basement stories here in this example is 0. The number of stories above ground level, including ground level. Again, for note, story means any of the parts into which a building is divided horizontally above or below ground level, but excluding any part of a building situated above the level of the roof or in the roof space, or below the level of the lowest floor, which is intended for the protection of a water tank or a lift motor room or similar use and is not intended for or adapted to be used for habitable purposes or as a workroom or as a storeroom. So in this case, we have 3 stories. We've ground floor, first and second floor. Height of the top floor above ground level is 4.6. Total floor area. Again, the information which gives some information on floor area. In relation to a building means the area bounded by the inner finished surfaces of the enclosing walls or on any side where there is no enclosing wall by the outermost edge of the floor on that side, and in calculating the area of a building or part of a building, there shall be included in such area the space occupied by any walls, shafts, ducts, or structure within the area being measured. So that you can refer to diagram 34 of Appendix C in TGDB. So in our case, this is 286.5. Total area of the ground floor, 7.9. Total area of material change of use is 91.7. Total area of the existing building is 2.8. Floor area of the building extension is 36.7. Total combined floor area, 286.5. And floor area of material alteration in this instance is 84.3. So relevant floor area means the floor area of the works or the building to which the application relates, which is affected by the works or the material change of use as the case may be. So once all information has been entered, you can click on Save and Continue. And again, we can see a green tick on the Applications Details tab, which means that all the relevant information has been entered, and we can proceed to the Nominate Roles tab. So I'm going to click on Nominate Roles. I'm going to click on Edit. So the first role is the applicant. The applicant is the person making the application and may be the owner or the leaseholder. So you enter the email address of the applicant, and first name and last name will be populated once they're a registered customer. If you are the applicant, you can tick Sign myself to this role, which in this case, I'm going to be the applicant, and I am the leaseholder. So I select leaseholder. The next role is the owner. The owner is the person who has commissioned or paid for the works and who has legal entitlement to have such works carried out on their behalf. If the owner is selected above, then this will auto-populate. I'm going to select Michael Murphy as the owner. So once you enter the email address, the first name and last name auto-populates. The owner will automatically receive notifications. So the next field is the person or firms to whom notifications should be forwarded. Again, if you enter the email address, first name and last name will auto-populate, and I'm going to assign my colleagues from the NBCO to these roles so they can accept their roles. And the person or firms responsible for preparation of accompanying plans, calculations, and specifications. Tick this box to receive notifications if you want this role to receive notifications about the project. Finally, the last role is other. If you require an other person to be notified, this is not a mandatory role. Once you've entered all the role details, you click on Save and Continue. So as you can see, there is not a green tick beside the nominate roles because everybody has to accept their role in order for the green tick to appear. I assign myself as the applicant. So I'm going to accept my role as the applicant, and I'm going to log out and log back in as the owner, Michael, and just demonstrate the roles acceptance process. So again, on our YouTube channel, there is a video on BCMS roles acceptance if there's any issues with accepting the role. And I'm just going to show you the Gmail account. So on nomination, each role assigned will get an email to say, owner role has been assigned. You've received this email because Dear Michael, application name at the location. You've received this email because you've been assigned the role of owner for a fire safety certificate with submission number, and this is a unique identifier. So each role will get notification on assignment. So I'm going to first accept my role as the applicant. You can see my role has been accepted. I'm going to log out and log back in as Michael Murphy to demonstrate the roles acceptance process. So Michael's going to go to My Applications. I've been using this account for testing purposes, so there's a lot of applications in here. So this is the project at 10A Palace Street. Go on to the Nominate Roles tab. So Michael can see here there's a green button to accept or a grey button to reject his role. So Michael's going to accept his role. And I can also see from here that the other roles have been accepted also. So Kelda and Aina have done a great job there accepting their roles. So as Michael Murphy, the owner, I can view the details of the project, but I can't make any edits or amendments. Okay, so I can view the details, but I can't make any changes. So I'm going to log out and log back in as the applicant. And I can continue with the submission process. So My Applications, find the relevant application. And I can see now that the Nominate Roles tab has a green tick. All roles have been accepted, and I can proceed onto the Statutory Documents tab. There's only one statutory document for the Fire Safety Certificate application. So I'm going to download the form of application for Fire Safety Certificate. I'm going to click on Download. I can see the form downloads as a PDF. So I'm going to open the form, check that the details are correct, that the local authority name and address is correct, that the name of the applicant and the address here is correct, the owner of the works or building, if different, is here and that's correct. Name and address of person or firms whom notification should be forwarded. Name and address of person or firm responsible for preparation of accompanying plans, calculations, specifications. The address of the proposed building. The nature of the proposed works is correct. And the brief description. Just for note that the description you've entered does get truncated on the form. However, the full description that you've entered will be visible to the Building Control Authority on the BCMS system. So the use of proposed works or building, the existing use and the new use, and the details we entered relating to the site area and ground floor, and the fee. So the form looks correct. So I print, sign, and scan the form. Okay, so I've printed the form, I've signed it, and I'm going to upload the scanned, signed version. So you have two options. You can drag and drop the file here, or you can browse to select your file. So I'm going to click on Browse. Select the correct file. The document type is Form of Application for Fire Safety Certificate. I'm going to click on Save. I'm going to click Save and Continue. So you can see the file appears here, document type, and if required, there's a little trash can icon to delete if you've uploaded the wrong file. Save and Continue. So you can see here, I have a green tick now on my Statutory Documents tab. I've fulfilled a requirement on the Statutory Documents. I'm going to proceed to the Supporting Documents section. For a note on the supporting documents, the only file types that are allowed for upload are PDF files, and the size is limited to 50 megs. So when I click on Edit, I can see the requirements on the supporting documents, as well as the required statutory document. Please upload all of the below additional supporting documents: site plan, site location plan, floor plan, section, elevation, compliance report, and floor area fee calculation drawing. So again, you can drag and drop your files as required, or you can browse to select your file. So for the purposes of demonstration, and this would not be the norm in practice, I'm going to upload one file which contains all of the required documents. So my PDF file has all of the documents included. This would not be the case in practice. So I'm going to tick site plan, site location plan, floor plan, section, elevation, compliance report, and floor area fee calculation drawing. I'm going to say my document name. Is all of these included? The drawing size and the drawing scale, which is mandatory. And click on Save. So you repeat this process as many times as is necessary to ensure that all of the required documentation has been uploaded. So you can see your document type, document name, the drawing size, scale, the drawing number. It's marked as an original submission upload and the date. I'm going to click on Save and Continue. And again, we have a green tick on the supporting document section, which means that I have uploaded all the required documents, so I can proceed to payment. So at payment stage, you're shown a summary of the application. So the ID, which is the unique submission number, the application type, it's Fire Safety Certificate application, the status at the moment is incomplete, and the application description, which I entered. So if I'm happy with that, the payment amount appears at the bottom of the screen, and you can continue to enter your credit card details. for the purposes of today, I won't enter credit card details and make an online payment. I'm going to request an exemption from fees. So once I request an exemption from fees, it says I hereby seek an exemption from the fees under the above article of the regulations on the basis as outlined below. So if you wish to claim an exemption for fees, you must submit a fee exemption form outlining your reasons. This form can be obtained from your Building Control Authority and uploaded into the supporting documents section and marked as other documentation. So it's saying that you should be familiar with Article 22 of the Building Control Regulations as amended, and you request an exemption from fees for this notice for the reasons outlined above. Please note the particulars of this fee exemption request will be reviewed by the relevant Building Control Authority prior to the validation of this notice and may be subject to acceptance, rejection, or request for further clarification. So in this instance, I'm saying that this application is on behalf of an approved housing body, and fee exemption request form is attached in the supporting document section. So then I'm going to click Pay and Submit Application. So I can see that the application has submitted successfully, and each tab is now locked. So you can no longer make amendments to this application except on an S14 or an S16 request by the Building Control Authority. So that's how to submit a fire safety certificate online. Thanks for your time and attention. Further help videos will be available on our YouTube channel, so please subscribe. And if you have any issues, contact your Building Control Authority or the NBCO, and we are at support@nbco.gov.ie. Thanks all.
Thank you, Sabrina. Sabrina, I have a few questions here, and I might just get you to answer them live. If that's okay with you, if you want to stay on there.
If I can.
Yes. I just say the first one here is Laura. Can you explain the process by which the nominated role names are populated once you enter their email address?
So once a customer has registered an account, once you enter the email address, it'll auto-populate the first name and last name. So each customer, anybody being nominated role, has to have an account on the BCMS. So they need to go through the account registration process.
Yes, I have another one here. We'll send an answer in writing. How does a fire cert area calculation fee drawing look like, or what is it? Haven't heard about it before. The fire area fee calculation drawing is really just something to show how the fee is calculated and to show the Building Control Authority that that fee is actually the correct fee for the area. We will actually send you something in the answers for that. Can the owner pay the fee, Sabrina?
Only the applicant can pay the fee. So any other role nominated cannot make any amendment to the application.
However, Sabrina, they can pay the fee. If it's a larger fee, they can pay directly to the Building Control Authority. Can you?
Yeah, if required, you can apply for an exemption to get your application submitted and pay and contact the Building Control Authority and pay via counter if required.
Yes, there's another question here from, can you clarify the sequence of a 7-day notice process? It appears that when you ticked the box for the 7-day notice, it asked for a 7-day notice number. Do you need to make a 7-day notice on the BCMS and then register the fire safety drawings afterwards, or can you leave this section blank and complete later? The legislation says, we will answer this as well when we send out the responses, but the legislation requires that a 7-day notice must be accompanied by a valid application for a fire safety certificate. So a valid application for a fire safety certificate must accompany the 7-day notice. Now, there are times when a fire safety certificate has been submitted or a 7-day notice, so we will answer that one, but it must be accompanied by a valid application for a fire safety certificate. Can the owner log on in and pay the fee? That's the same question, Sabrina.
Yeah, the answer is the applicant goes through the submission process. So if somebody else is required to pay or somebody doesn't want to pay online, they can apply for an exemption and contact the Building Control Authority to arrange payment.
And let's say the next one is, can the application payment be done by the owner? Is there still a requirement to lodge hard copies of a fire safety application with the local authority? I suppose the answer to that is the E-Commerce Act does allow online submissions and electronic signatures. And the only thing that it doesn't cover is a signature on a statutory declaration. There will be an amendment to the legislation just to confirming this, which should be in the next 3-4 weeks. The legislation is written and awaits the signature of the minister. Will this recording be forwarded to all? Yes, the recording will be forwarded to all, and the questions and answers will be answered correctly and sent out. Usually the architect fills out the application. Can they submit the fee, or how does the owner do so? So it's really, if you just want to go through that fee process again, there's 2 ways, one online.
Yeah, so again, the online fee is paid by the applicant. So if another party wishes to pay, or if the online submission, if you don't want to make an online payment, you contact the Building Control Authority after requesting a fee exemption.
Yeah, and normally the application is submitted by the consultant. Is this still possible? That's the same answer, I think, Serena, is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's still possible. Yeah.
Yeah, can a revised fire safety certificate application be submitted this way? I didn't see the option in the checklist.
Yes, it can. It's an option at the start. It's one of the 7 application types.
We have enabled online a fire safety certificate, a revised fire safety certificate, a regularisation fire safety certificate, a disability access certificate, a revised disability access certificate, an application for dispensation from a part of the building regulations, and an application for a relaxation of a part of the building regulations. Those are all available online. When does this process come into effect? This process was made live on I think the 4th of July, maybe, so it's live on the system. Is there CPD certificate? Teresa Hart has said yes to that question. Can you apply for a fire safety certificate for development that has not been granted a planning permission yet, or is there an appeal? I won't answer that one. I'll just double check that before. There are instances where a fire safety certificate may not need a current planning permission or a planning application. How is the fee calculated? The fee is calculated by area. We will elaborate on that when we answer it. So it's the area of the relevant building or works, the subject of the fire safety certificate. There's the definition of area, total area, and the area relating to the application. Have all local authorities signed up to this online system, or is it only select local authorities? It is available in every single local authority to accept the applications online. So check with your local authority that they are, and they all have signed up. Do I understand correctly that if a development comprises both new build, existing building elements, then individual applications must be made? That's I will need to drill down on that a little bit further with the team, and we'll answer that one. And if individual applications are required for new build and alteration elements of a development, example large residential developments like Clancy Quay, we'll take all the rest of your questions and we will answer them and email them back to you. I think I have another poll here now, and thank you, Sabrina, for your time on that. We're kind of heading towards our 40 minutes. Shirley, if you put up, the next poll is, what topic would you like to see the National Building Control Office and the RAI present in future webinars, if any? We have examples there: submission processes, building regulations, Building Control Act, and enforcement. So the results there then, okay, the submission process, building regulations, yeah, we can arrange that. And if anybody has any particular requirement, if you'd like to submit it to ourselves at support@nbco.gov.ie or send it into the RAI, we will work with you and we will facilitate that. What you see on your screen there is a list of future webinars that we have in progress, and we will have dates out quite soon for that. The application of Part L of the building regulations to energy retrofit extensions and renovations to existing dwellings and other buildings. Pat Nestor, head of building control in DCC, will give that one with us. We have SI 243 of 2012, the building energy rating. Richard Butler, our team member, will deliver that in 2 weeks' time. We have a date, I just haven't got it. We will circulate it. And the online submission of a disability access certificate, Aino Cornelia, our team member, will deliver that. I think it's next week, the week after, I think the 14th, we'll circulate that. And so at this stage, I would like to thank everybody, and we will send out the questions and answers and the download of this webinar. And I would like to thank Sabrina, Teresa Hart, and Shirley for organising this webinar and giving up their time. And thank you very much. Goodbye and take care.